Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Numerics with Nadia. In today's video, we're going to build off of our video from last week, which was the introduction to the distributive property, where we worked through a few pre-algebra examples. If you guys haven't watched that video, I would highly encourage you to watch that video before this one. But for those of you who are already taking algebra, this video is for you. In this video, we will go through and review the distributive property in the algebra level. And we will go through and do a few practice examples. And the type of practice examples we'll do today are examples with variables, and we'll also learn how to distribute a negative. So now that we've gone through our lesson plan for today, let's review the distributive property. This definition uses variables, and that's because we are doing the algebra version of this video. This definition says that multiplying a sum by a number is the same as multiplying each addend by the number and then adding the products. Now, what does an addend mean? An addend just means that it is a number that is being added to another number. And as you can see in this diagram, we're using the rainbow method to distribute that variable to each of the values inside the parentheses. So now that we've reviewed our definition and the distributive property and how it works if we're using variables, now we will get into our practice section for today. The directions for our practice section say to use the distributive property to simplify the following expressions. So for number 1, we have 3 parentheses x plus 4. So the first thing we'll do is we'll draw out our rainbows, which I am doing here in blue. When I do that, I see that I'm distributing this 3 to the x and to the 4, and we have a plus in the middle, so that plus will carry through. So that first set of parentheses would be 3 distributed to the x, which is 3 times x, plus 3 times 4. And when we do that, 3 times x just gives me 3x. The sign in between in our parentheses is adding, so we will have adding, so it'll be 3x plus 3 times 4 gives me 12, so our answer for number 1 is 3x plus 12. Now we will move on to our second example for today. For number 2, we have 6 times parentheses b minus 9, so same thing here. We're going to draw out our rainbows. That 6 is going to be distributed and multiplied by b and by 9. So our first set of parentheses would be 6 times b minus, right, because there's a minus sign in between here, so be careful with that, 6 times 9. We know that 6 times b just gives us 6b. The minus sign will come down with us, and then we'll have 6 times 9, we know gives us 54. So our answer for number 2 will be 6b minus 54. And now that we've done 2 straightforward examples, one with adding and one with subtracting, let's do our third example here. What happens if we're distributing a number to 3 numbers inside of a parentheses? So the other examples had 2. What if there's 3 inside? So for number 3, we have 9 parentheses 3 plus c plus 4. You guessed it, same thing here. So we're just going to distribute that 9 to the 3, 9 to the c, and 9 to the 4. So how we would break this out, we would have 9 times 3 plus 9 times c plus 9 times 4. We know that 9 times 3 gives us 27. 9 times c just gives us 9c, and 9 times 4 gives us 36. Here we have 2 like terms. I will do a video on combining like terms in the next session, but for today, combining like terms here, we have 2 numbers. We have 27 and 36. In order to fully simplify this, we will combine those 2. When I do 27 plus 36, I get 63. So our final simplified answer for number 3 will be 9c plus 63. Now we will move on to our fourth example for today. In this example, we will be distributing a negative. So for number 4, we have negative 2 parentheses 5g plus 4 minus 3. So here, same as before, we're going to distribute that negative 2 to the 5g, to the 4, and to the 3. So for our first set, we have negative 2 times 5g plus, we're going to carry through all those same signs that are inside of our parentheses. So plus negative 2 times 4 minus negative 2 times 3. So for our first set of parentheses, negative 2 times 5g will give us negative 10g, plus our second set of parentheses, negative 2 times 4 will give us negative 8, minus our third set of parentheses, negative 2 times 3 gives us negative 6. So looking at this right now, we have two things going on. We know that adding by a negative is the same as subtracting, right? We also know that a double negative is the same as adding. So I'm going to rewrite this, and for our final answer, we will get negative 10g minus 8 plus 6 as our answer for number 4. So looking at this answer compared to our original question and each input inside those parentheses, if we look, we can see that distributing a negative flips all of the signs inside of our parentheses, right? So our 5g was positive. Now that we've distributed the negative 2, it's negative. The 4 was positive. Now that we distributed the negative 2, it's negative. Same thing goes for the negative 3. The negative 3 was negative. Now that we've distributed the negative 2, it's positive now. So distributing a negative flips all of the signs that we have going on. And knowing that, we will get into our fifth and final practice question for today. For number 5, we have negative 6 times n plus 4 plus 7m. So we will distribute that negative 6 to the n, to the 4, and to the 7n. And when we distribute, we would have for our first set of parentheses, negative 6 times n, plus our second set of parentheses would be negative 6 times 4, and then our third set of parentheses will be adding again negative 6 times 7m. So when we do negative 6 times n, we end up getting negative 6n. For negative 6 times 4, we get negative 24, so we get negative 6n plus negative 24 plus negative 6 times 7m gives me negative 42m. So again, similar to our last example, when we add by a negative, it's the same as just subtracting. So we'll go through here and update our signs. So for number 5, we get negative 6n minus 24 minus 42m as our answer. And that wraps up our video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson. I know I moved a little bit quickly, so feel free to rewind or rewatch the video. And again, if you haven't watched last week's video, I would highly recommend watching that one first. Feel free to comment any questions you guys have down below or any other topics you would like me to do a video on. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like it if you did. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video with a friend. And I will see you guys next time.